I arrived in Johannesburg with 1 bag, 40 rand and a phone number written on my hand. That is the whole truth of how I started. Everything I have now and everything it cost me began at a taxi rank at Park Station with the ink already smudging in my sweat. They call it eGoli, the city of gold. At home we said the name like a prayer. Everyone who went there came back shining. Nobody told us that the gold is not lying in the streets, it is buried deep and you break your body digging for a piece of it. The number on my hand belonged to a cousin of a cousin. He let me sleep on the floor of a room in Hillbrow. 1 room, a mattress, and 6 of us in it. The building had no working lift, water only sometimes, and a stairwell you did not walk at night. This was the city of gold. I learned the rules of the street fast because the street teaches with its fists. Where not to walk, when not to show your phone, how to tell a real policeman from one who just wants your money. I had crossed a hard border to get here. The city was another border, and I crossed it every single day. I had a diploma from home. It meant nothing here. No papers, no work permit, so no proper job would touch me. I was not a qualified man in Johannesburg. I was a pair of hands that could be paid less and fired faster, and everyone knew it, including me. So I stood on the corner with the other men, where the bakkies come at dawn, looking for casual labor. You raise your hand. You look strong. You look cheap. A man points at you, and if you are lucky, you have work for the day, digging, lifting, painting, and cash in your hand by dark. I did every kind of work there is. I dug foundations. I guarded cars in a parking lot for coins. I washed dishes in a kitchen where I was paid half of what I was promised, and when I complained, the owner smiled and said, "Then go to the police, my friend." He knew I could not. That is the trap of being undocumented. You are the perfect worker. You cannot complain, you cannot report, you cannot demand what you are owed. The whole city runs on people like me and pretends we are a problem, while it quietly could not do without us. And then there were the days the anger came looking for us. Xenophobia, they call it. To me, it was a mob at the end of the street, and a word, kwerekwere, spat like a curse. They said we were taking the jobs, the same jobs they would not stand at a corner at dawn to beg for. I have run from a mob in the dark. I have watched a friend's stall burn to the ground for the crime of being foreign and working hard. I have slept with my shoes on, ready to run. In those nights, I understood that here my life was worth less because of where I was born. But I stayed. Because back home was worse, because every month I sent money and groceries to my family, and that was the whole reason I existed in that city. I lived on bread and cheap polony so that my mother would have her cooking oil and my sister could pay her school fees. The groceries went home with the malayitsha, the cross-border couriers who run between Joburg and every corner of Zimbabwe. For a fee, they carry your love home in a box. My family in the village thought I was living well. The box lied for me every single month. I missed everything. My father's funeral. I could not risk the border with no papers, so I mourned him alone in a Hillbrow room while my family buried him without me. My niece grew from a baby to a schoolgirl in photographs. I was providing for a family I was slowly becoming a stranger to. Slowly, though, I climbed. I found steadier work. I learned the city's languages, a little Zulu, a little Sotho, so I could pass, so I could belong a little. I moved from the floor to my own mattress, then my own room. In Johannesburg, that is a kind of wealth. That is real progress. I sold things. Airtime, then vegetables, then a small stall. Zimbabweans are traders in our bones. Give us a corner and a little stock, and we will build something from nothing, because nothing is exactly what most of us started with. Hustle is not a hobby here. It is breathing. There were good things too. I will not paint it all as suffering. I found a church of my own people where we sang the songs of home, and for 2 hours on a Sunday, we were not foreigners. I found brothers in the struggle. In a cold city, we kept each other warm, but the loneliness is a cost nobody warns you about. You can be surrounded by 4 million people and be utterly alone. Some men, far from their wives for years, start a second life here. A girlfriend, another family, and the money that was for home starts to split in two. Watched it happen to good men. The home wife waiting, still cooking for a husband who now had a city wife. The money thinning, the lies stacking up. The city does that. It stretches a man across two lives until something in the middle of him tears. The years went by faster than I ever expected. I always said, one more year, then I go home for good. But home had no work, and the city had my whole life now. My room, my hustle, my church, my routine. The temporary had quietly become permanent. That is how it takes you. When I do go home for Christmas, I am the one with the new shoes and the full boxes. The village sees a success, and I let them, because how do you explain the room in Hillbrow, the mob in the dark, the father you did not bury? You cannot. So you smile, and you carry the story alone. So when you meet us, building your walls, guarding your cars, running the little shop on your corner, know that we did not come for your country. We came for our families. We took the hardest, smallest, most invisible work, and we did it far from everyone we love. I came to Johannesburg with 1 bag and 40 rand. I built a life out of nothing in a place that never wanted me to stay. It cost me my father's funeral, my youth, and years I will never get back with the people I did it all for. Was it worth it? Ask me on a good day, and I will say yes. That is my story of the City of Gold, the one under the new shoes and the full boxes. If you have crossed a border to build a life, or you are waiting for someone who did, tell me in the comments. And stay with me. There are more true, hard stories like this to tell, and I will tell them here.